This episode is brought to you by the Regional Air Quality Council, because it's time to go green and set the summer trend. Get yourself a 30% point-of-sale discount on new electric lawn and garden equipment statewide in Colorado at participating retailers. That's 30% off electric lawnmowers, leaf blowers, and string trimmers. Actually used this recently. My husband was like, how do we get that discount? And I was like, I think you just have to find a retailer. And he was like, okay. And then we did it. Learn more ways to help improve air quality along the Front Range at simplestepsbetterair.org. That's simplestepsbetterair.org. This episode is brought to you by Energy Outreach Colorado. Energy Outreach Colorado is celebrating 35 years with their Greatest Hits Tour. Since 1989, they've been topping the charts in energy equity while helping thousands of Colorado families keep their homes warm and their lights on. Join their encore performance by donating at energyoutreach.org/donate. Your support ensures their platinum hits keep playing for decades to come. Energy Outreach Colorado, 35 years of #1 hits and still rocking affordable energy for all. Visit energyoutreach.org/donate to help today. Today on CityCast Denver, the local LGBTQ community is divided over what to do about the big trans rights bill that stalled out at the state legislature. So me and producer Paul Caroli are dissecting the debates insiders are having. Plus, a beloved Mexican restaurant got hit with a huge lawsuit and some thoughtful but very real criticism from a Denver bike rider. Today is Tuesday, April 29th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Bree.
Did you ever go to Armita's?
Armita's, the karaoke place?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. I sat awkwardly in the back of Armita's and watched my friends do karaoke.
In the front of the window on
Sometimes in the
Lincoln.
front, sometimes on the upstairs, the smaller room. But no matter what, it's awkward for me because I'm not singing.
Well, I just was thinking about it because I drove by today and they finally put that building out of its misery.
Oh, really? Is it torn down?
Yes.
It was like a taco shop for a while. It's been a few
It
things
was,
since
but
Armita's.
recently it clearly caught fire. I don't know what happened. And so then it was kind of just sitting there like a shell of itself, and it just made me so sad. And I don't, it bums me out. A part of Old Denver's gone, but I feel like it's finally been laid to rest. So this actually makes me wonder, is there a good, what's the karaoke place that has the good vibe?
There was that spot in Rhino, Voice Box, that I think got sued. But people liked that. I went there once with some folks who were doing the Chinese pop songs, which was wild.
Is that the private karaoke rooms?
Uh-huh, yeah.
We did that for my bachelorette party.
Was it fun?
It was awesome.
Cool.
But I think it's gone. I think you're right.
I mean, for me, awkward as usual. Not singing. Not part of it, but happy for everybody else.
You didn't do Panic at the Disco with your sister like I did?
No, I sort of sit in the back. I sweat. I hope that no one asks me what I'm singing because the answer is I'm not. And just sort of like not a part of it.
Well, maybe our members know a good place. This place is closed. Armita's is gone. Is there a good karaoke place that just has the vibe, that has the right mix of like the best karaoke singers as well as just like the people that like to party? Because that's what's really important.
Oh, there's a spot in Lodo that used to do it that was kind of cool. Damn. Listeners will know, and they will call in.
Call us on the
720-500-5418.
Denver's best karaoke hotline. We need to hear from you.
But
speaking of you,
yes,
we're in the final stretch of our membership campaign. If you're tired of hearing us talk about it, no better time than now than to join. We need you. This is urgent. We have less than a week. Mm-hmm. We've got a goal. Mm-hmm. This is how we're going to keep the show running. We really need you guys to sign up.
There's actually one thing I want to talk about today around this, because I think there's something that we do on this show that is totally unique and special. And I think a perfect reason to support us, because you're just not getting it other places. Someone actually pointed this out to me recently, because I didn't even realize it. But where else do you hear journalists respond
like
to
a personal
real criticism or questions or comments? Like, where do you hear that?
Yeah.
Like, who else is as responsive or as engaged with their listeners, their community as we are? I don't think I hear it. I never hear it from anyone.
I also think it's just a really magical part of the format and the medium that we're in, is we get to have this space to directly respond. And you also feel comfortable asking us questions or pushing back on us. And that's like where the magic is that
Truly.
It takes us opening the door, but it also takes you reaching out to us. And we love that.
Truly. I mean, we're open to it. That's credit to us. I think you and I are both like wanting to hear other perspectives and wanting to hear criticism. But then the fact that you all respond and give it to us, like, I think it makes the show better. I think it helps us grow as people, as a community, as a city. I honestly think what we're doing is so special in this world where everyone lives in their own media bubble. And this is a place where people with different perspectives can come together and actually talk about hard things.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do this later today in the show. Like there's someone
we'll have
who wrote in.
A perfect example of this.
The perfect example. I'm very much looking forward to talking about this because someone wrote in. They had a very specific criticism of something I said on the show last week, and I am looking forward to talking about it because it made me think about it in a different way.
We also have one of those too that I can't wait to respond to
Yes,
from a friend of ours.
We got a couple. So
but
please.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great point, Paul.
Join, support the show. If this matters to you, if this work matters to you, if you think it helps the city be a better place to live, then please join us, become a member. It's just $10 a month. You get ad-free listening. You get a really cool mug.
Oh, it's so cute. I love this mug, truly.
And you just got to go to you got to go to membership.citycast.fm today to become a member and do it right now.
Please do sign up. Membership.citycast.fm. Super easy. We'd love to see you there in our neighbor. We would love for you to become our neighbor.
All right, let's do the
actual thing.
Let's do the thing. We're going to start today with a really interesting story. There's this new twist in the debate over this big trans rights bill at the state legislature this year. They only have a few more weeks before the end of the session, so it's coming down to the wire to make some agreements on some of these bigger hot button issues. And this is definitely one of them. So, Bree, you talked about this with Lucas Brady Woods of KUNC a few weeks ago on the show, but I think we should start with just like a reminder of what is this particular bill?
Sure. So this is House Bill 1312. Also, it's being called the Kelly Loving Act. And Kelly was one of the folks. She was a transgender woman who was killed in the Club Q nightclub shooting in 2022 in Colorado Springs. So this bill is part of the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, which includes gender identity as a protected class. And it would add intentionally misgendering transgender people or referring to them by their, quote, dead name, meaning the name they used to go by before they transitioned, to the list of discriminatory acts covered by the law in public accommodations.
Okay. So if someone in a public forum referred to you as your dead name, that would be discriminatory under the law.
Or I'm thinking about, I feel like this
pass.
happened to Representative Titone, I feel like in the House, or I'm sorry, at the Capitol in the last couple of months where another legislator referred to her as he, and her gender is, she identifies as she. So this, that's exactly what this would do, was add those to discriminatory acts that are covered under public accommodations laws.
Okay. And so then last week, I think the new piece is what the Denver Post reported on, which is that one of Colorado's biggest LGBTQ groups, One Colorado, which had been a huge supporter of this bill, one of the drivers, is now, quote, hedging support for the bill. Yeah. What do we know about this?
This is where it got a little fuzzy. So after the bill passed the House, it's kind of languished in the Senate. In part because supporters, in particular One Colorado, which again is a big organization that does advocacy around LGBTQ plus issues, have concerns about, quote, jeopardizing existing protections. So the Denver Post reported that in an email last week, One Colorado's executive director, Nadine Bridges, said the group, quote, moved to an amend position after hearing concerns from the community, families, partners, and legal experts. And to address those concerns, ensure the bill protects our community, they are working on amendments. So it was very vague.
Super vague.
Very vague.
Well, when I first saw this bill, I thought, okay, we kind of see one of these every year in Colorado. There's the Democrats have the majority. There is a lot of like political power that the LGBTQ community has right now. And so every year we kind of see one of these bills go forward where it pushes forward rights a little bit more. And it maybe shores up the corners, the harsh edges, helps people feel
some real
protected.
Basic protections, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that in Colorado kind of a lot. That's the trend. This year, I think, the GOP, they always fight these things, but this year was different because they brought speech into it in a new way that I had not remembered in past bills like this. Like there was this really, honestly, comically like exaggerated and over the top op-ed from this guy named William Wolf, who wrote about this bill for Standing for Freedom Center with an op-ed titled "Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are in Denver." And he said one of his main points for not liking this bill, for saying that Colorado is now gunning for California's claim to be the most godless state in America, he said it coerces speech. He said it's a speech issue.
This is such an interesting thing because it's hard to equate this argument to other arguments. You know what I mean? To like give an example outside of this that makes sense if folks are not quite grasping like what this is. But
I can think of one.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, the bake shop case. Jack Phillips, right here in Colorado.
The Masterpiece Cake Shop.
The baker who didn't want to bake a cake to celebrate a gay wedding. And that went all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in favor of Jack Phillips, but left a lot of gray area.
Yeah. I'm just thinking
around speech and discrimination and this particular issue. I
guess I just go back to the situation that we watched with Representative Titone, where she was repeatedly misgendered in what came across to me as in an effort to, I don't want to say harm her, but diminish her existence. And I think that's kind of what they're getting at with this.
Who's they?
I guess with supporters of this bill.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, how do we protect folks from, language matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you're just being asked for basic dignity, like, this is who I am, this is how I identify, it seems pretty simple to just extend that to another human being.
Well, yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way for sure. The people who are backing this bill, 100%. I've heard a lot about that. But if you're thinking about the lawyers and the liability, and if that's why this bill got caught up, like, you got to think, who are these conservative groups and what are their allies in the Trump administration and like national legal campaigns? Are they worried that someone is going to come and start fighting this and then get this bill caught up in some years-long campaign? Like, the national political environment for this has changed. That's another big thing about this bill compared to past years is you got to always be worried about what the federal government is going to do. And if you're going to be drawing the Eye of Sauron towards you to like bring the armies of Mordor on your doorstep, not to get too nerdy about it.
I was like, I don't know what any
of that means. I know, that probably all went
to me, but if this was in a record label versus bands conversation, I might know. But I guess I always just go back to this same thought, which is the transgender community is such a small percentage of our world. That doesn't mean that they aren't important, but it just is like these are folks that are relatively powerless in social structures to begin with, and they're just asking for protections to be identified as they would like to be, as I would like to be identified as I am. I identify as she, her, breed. Also, I changed my last name because I didn't like my name. Again, not anywhere near the implications of someone who is trans going through that. I can't speak for them, but I know how important it is to go by a name that suits me. So
sure.
This is just,
the other piece of that is I think there are people who definitely agree with that perspective, but are still opposing the bill. Like, the Gill Foundation was mentioned in this Denver Post article. An interesting allusion here that said, after the bill passed the House, the Gill Foundation, a prominent financial supporter of LGBTQ plus causes, including one Colorado, called lawmakers to express, quote, concerns. Faith Winter said, she's one of the backers. Other national organizations also shared late feedback on the measure. And then in a statement Wednesday morning, the Gill Foundation said, quote, it does not and cannot engage in lobbying. Brad Clark, the group's president and CEO, reached out to Winter as a member of the community and private citizen. So he clearly made a phone call and then had to catch himself. Like, wait a second, this 501c3 that I run can't actually lobby the government.
Speak for them.
Yeah.
Also, we're looking at, I think part of the issue here too is that change in One Colorado's stance to amend position took a lot of folks on their side off guard. Particularly lawmakers, Faith Winter herself, Lorena Garcia and Rebecca Stewart, who were Garcia and Stewart are the two sponsors of the bill, but I think they were kind of like, wait a minute, wait, what? And I think that's sort of been the struggle over the last week is, wait, what's going on? Why is this happening? I thought we were on the same page. And I don't know if everybody's on the same page because we were just talking about DSA Denver sent out an email asking folks to testify in support of this bill. So I think it also just gets to the complexity of this kind of an issue in this current climate.
I agree. I think what I'd be watching as we're looking at debates over amendments is the speech portion. That's what I think is particularly interesting here is like, how can they amend this to maybe make it a little bit more, shielded in the national legal conversation, but still make it feel good for the people who were supporting it in the first place and wanted these protections.
Yeah. I'm also just looking to see how the queer community in general figures this out together and like what the outcome is, because again, we're talking about this time where DEI is getting thrown out
Sure.
the window. Funding is
Sponsors
getting
are
cut
cutting
for Pride.
Yeah.
Like, there's no better time than now to have a unified front. And I can see where this could be very concerning for leadership within the queer community of, like, are we all on the same page? Do we know what each other is thinking and is worried about?
I'd love to hear what listeners think. I mean, what do you all want? I know a lot of people have very strong feelings about this.
Absolutely.
Call in, let us know what you think. Do you want to see Colorado push forward protections for trans rights, even if it might risk a lawsuit? 720-500-5418 is the number to call.
This episode is brought to you by Choir League. Choir League presents Sing and Shout, an unforgettable afternoon celebrating the powerful legacy of African American spirituals, the foundation of all American music. On Sunday, May 4th at 3:30 p.m., join Lonnie Norwood, gospel singer and teacher from the South Side of Chicago, for a workshop and performance with Choir League. Lonnie will guide folks through this powerful American art form, where it came from, and how it informed American music that came after it. You can buy tickets now on Eventbrite and enjoy the show with Lonnie, but you can also join Choir League. The group meets weekly for practice at local breweries and distilleries. Singers can sign up for 6 to 8 week sessions, and there's always a performance at the end of each cycle. There's no audition to join and no experience necessary. Tickets for the May 4th show with Lonnie Norwood are on sale now at Eventbrite. Just check the link in our show notes. For more information on the program and joining the choir, visit choirleague.com or email info@choirleague.com. This episode is brought to you by JCC Denver. Join the JCC for the second annual Klez Colorado, a weekend-long klezmer music festival that centers local and national klezmer music acts, Yiddish cultural activities, interactive workshops, family-friendly programming, and Colorado's Jewish community. Klez Colorado happens May 16th through the 18th at JCC Denver's Ranch Camp. The fest is hosted by the Meisel Arts and Culture Center and the Steinberg Loop Jewish Community Center and is organized by a queer-led and queer-focused group that welcomes people of all backgrounds. Catch acts like Dot Levine, Gora Gora Orchestra, Hal Aqua and the Lost Tribe, Jordan Wax, and Mish Mish. Get your tickets now. For more information about Klez Colorado and to purchase tickets, visit jccdenver.org/Klez Colorado. That's jccdenver.org/KLEZKOLORADO, or just check out the link in our show notes. Let's move on to our next story.
Okay, let's do this one quick. This is a quick follow-up.
Los Dos Patrios, local Mexican restaurant chain, has made headlines recently, and it wasn't about their expansion plans, which is what we've seen lots of headlines about. They're getting more attention for something else.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on with Los Dos?
Well, I mean, they got some attention from us last week, talking about how good-looking the brothers are that run at the Ramirez Brothers, and
We had them on
how
our
much
show.
we love the restaurant, and blah, blah, blah.
They were
and
so
then
charming.
Literally the next day, two things happen. One, I get a DM from colleague Adrian Gonzalez, Hey Denver newsletter editor, who says, hey, on TikTok, people are posting videos of how disgusting the conditions in these Dos Patrios kitchens are. So I'm like, oh God, I didn't know that. That's not great.
But again, we're just
And
being
then
ourselves.
I just like the restaurant. I went to the new one and I thought I had a good time. I didn't know. So then I saw this headline from Business Den that was like, lawsuit, massive class action lawsuit settled out of court. Los Dos Patrios will pay former workers. Let me get the exact number here. I think it's the exact number here, $3.75 million payout to former workers who worked there for over a period of some years from like 2017 to 2022, I think. 1,350 former employees will get payouts between $65 and $25,677.
Imagine that person being that person. And that's a lot of wages in restaurant work.
I mean, that's a person who worked a job sounds like they didn't like for several years and are now getting a big fat check over it.
I mean, I wouldn't like it either, too, if I was concerned about where my money was going.
Yeah. So the actual allegation specifically, it all derived from this one particular worker, Gladys Castañeda, who sued the company in 2023, alleging they didn't pay minimum wage or overtime, neglected to split tips, and failed to provide rest breaks. I have not actually read the lawsuit personally, so maybe there's more details than that. But that's what we got from the Business Den article.
That part about not getting your breaks really hit me. Because
Yeah, you know that feeling.
oh, so bad, especially if you're getting hammered busy and you don't even get 10 minutes to sit down or be off the line or whatever. So
Yeah.
have the Ramirez brothers said anything?
Well, that's kind of the interesting piece of this is like, because this is an out-of-court settlement, they basically, they're saying they're not guilty. So that's what we're hearing from the Ramirez brothers. What we're hearing from the lawyers who represent the workers is that they find this deal more valuable than protracted litigation, was the quote from Business Den. So apparently they think, I don't know, I guess that means they think this settlement is better than the workers paying the lawyers for more, or like risking losing and then no one gets anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's where it gets murky, and like since it's out of court, we actually don't know, and they don't have any reason to tell us what's the real situation here. It doesn't feel good.
No.
It sounds like it got pretty nasty.
Yeah. Man, what a bummer. I mean, I'm glad that these folks may be getting the compensation that they feel like they need, but that's a bummer. That's a bummer local business story.
But it's also like, I don't know. I mean, we've talked so much about restaurants and the restaurant business this year. I kind of have, I kind of expect this from restaurants, not to excuse anybody, but I just think the whole business is so like weirdly like overregulated in some ways and underregulated in other ways. I feel like if you looked at like 10 businesses and investigated for wage theft, you'd probably find it. You'd probably find it at some or most. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just restaurants are such a unique situation because it involves tipped employees, full-time, paid. It's such a unique industry in that way to me. Yeah. I only worked in it for a couple of years versus the 17 I worked in retail, and there's a lot of reasons I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah. And it's a high stress environment. There's so much going. It's hard to explain if you've never worked in a kitchen what the actual feeling is like, but the money part is complicated.
Yeah. The other thing I've learned is each restaurant is kind of unique. They do it differently.
Absolutely.
So if you're a worker going in for a job, it's hard to know exactly what the deal is. And then maybe only as you're working there, you realize you're getting a short end of the stick.
And this is locals versus chains versus small chains. Like there's so many different types of restaurants too. Yeah. So
the other piece I think is interesting here, just briefly, is that these lawyers who represented the workers, Milstein and Howard, Milstein and Turner, they run a firm in Boulder that specializes in wage theft. And they're not the only lawyers that I've actually heard about. I talked to another guy who's doing this lawsuit against Culinary Creative Group and Juan Padro, who's just like going after this like full bore. I think there's people who see, I mean, the lawyers are seeing this as opportunity, I think, but if I was a worker in the restaurant industry and I thought I was getting shafted, I might be interested in reaching out to some of these lawyers that are interested in this world and popping up more and more.
Because I also don't know how else I would get the leverage that I needed to get what I needed, because restaurant workers typically don't have a ton of power in this situation. So,
well, you can also reach out to the Denver Wage Theft Office. They're more active and better funded than ever, and they want to hear from you.
Yeah.
We'll put the links to that in the show notes.
Absolutely. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. Looking for a unique gift that's going to secure that spot of best gift giver they know? Give the gift of an Aura digital picture frame where you can preload lots of fun pics for whoever the lucky recipient is. It's easy to see why everyone loves this frame. It only takes like 2 minutes to set up and has unlimited storage for photos and videos. This cult favorite is featured in hundreds of gift guides and articles like Wirecutter, Oprah's Favorite Things, and more. And you know, if Oprah's recommending it, it's gotta be good. The Aura frame can display as many pictures and 30-second videos as you can take. Plus, it can even play audio. If you can't decide between all of your awesome summit pics, why not display them all? Plus, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com. And don't forget, use promo code CityCast. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey CityCast, something I appreciate about the Cozy Earth Mother's Day sale is that they know motherhood looks different on everyone. So whether you're raising kids, dogs, or cane, all moms work hard and they deserve comfort. So let me tell you about these Cozy Earth sheets. They feel like cool water in a sort of, is this the Ritz-Carlton or my own bedroom kind of way. The pajamas are what I imagine celebrity moms sleep in, buttery soft. You're looking for the right gift because the women who raised you feel like home. And they are going to love Cozy Earth bamboo pajamas, and I know this because it's 3:24 p.m. and I'm still wearing mine. To celebrate moms everywhere, Cozy Earth is supporting your favorite local podcast and giving our listeners a special promo. 45% off site-wide. This is a luxury brand, and that is a mind-blowing deal. Use Cozy Denver to take advantage of 45% off at CozyEarth.com.
Okay, this is exactly what you were talking about at the top of the show, Paul. The relationship that we have with our listeners. So, do you want me to read?
I think you should read this comment from Noah C.
Okay. Hey, Paul and the rest of the CityCast Denver team. I've been a listener going on 3 years now and a member since last November. I generally appreciate your commentary on bike infrastructure and culture in Denver, but wanted to call out something Paul said on Friday that I found troubling. The other gentleman that they apprehended who had escaped, they found, quote, riding his bike suspiciously around an empty car wash. And
I saw a video of this as well.
You did?
He was on the
like,
berm of like a highway, and he had his face covered, and it was like the middle of the night.
Okay, I was like, what does riding a bike suspiciously mean?
I mean, if you do it in the middle of the night, I think.
I guess.
I don't know.
Then Noah goes on to say, I found this characterization to be rooted in classism and a car-centric understanding of when and how biking is acceptable. I share access to a car and use my bike as my main method of transportation, which means that I'm often riding in the middle of the night. When it's cold out, I wear my face covering, leaving only my eyes exposed. This isn't suspicious. I'm just trying to keep my face warm. Paul, you've said on the show many times that you enjoy biking around Denver, so I didn't expect this from you. I'm asking that you reflect on how your comment might sound if you had instead said that walking at night is suspicious, or taking the bus, or driving. The reality is that all of these are reasonable methods to travel at any time of day or night. We shouldn't accept law enforcement targeting anyone based on how they choose to move or the clothes they're wearing. Paul, what did you think of Noah's comment?
I mean, I did reflect on this when I saw Noah's comment yesterday, and I sent Noah an email thanking him for sending this in because it prompted me to think about it again. And I think Noah's right. I think Noah's right that there is nothing suspicious about being on your bike in the middle of the night and covering your face. I've also done that. I mean, it's cold at night.
Yeah.
You don't want to have your face uncovered. It hurts.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's not suspicious. I think what I was trying to do in that moment was to acknowledge that if the police are saying he was moving suspiciously, there might have been something else going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, on the side of the highway, I've accidentally, when I first moved here, I was biking around and I accidentally got on an on-ramp and I was,
oh my God,
it was really harrowing and scary. And that was a moment where, you know, I have my own experience in the world. I have my own privilege and my own perspective. And so I might have appreciated someone maybe stopping me and helping me point in the right direction. That's not the case for everybody.
I was just going to say, really, the bodies we inhabit changes how police interact with us.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what happened to Elijah McClain walking down the street wearing a mask or wearing like a face covering.
Completely different.
These are totally different situations. But also, I think what I found interesting about this was I think it was the Post or was it 9 News? Someone reported that language, and then we continued to use that language. And so, where did this suspiciously?
That he was acting suspiciously.
Yeah, where did that start? And maybe we need to think more about what we reiterate that the police share with us.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what we should have just been clear that it was the police saying that.
Yes.
I think we were saying that. I think we said that it was the police said he was acting suspiciously, and what I made the jump towards was trying to understand what about that video that I saw might have been suspicious. And we were speculating and equivocating and
interpreting. To
be specific, biking, covering your face in the middle of the night, not suspicious.
Yeah.
Not to me, at least.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think this was this also, just talking about this now is making me think again about when we were having that conversation. What an interesting word, suspicious, of describing someone riding a bike.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was really nice. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you calling in.
I also appreciate you've been listening for 3 years and you're already a member. That's awesome.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks for supporting us.
We appreciate it.
I think we have a voicemail.
Hey, CityCast. JD here from Lakewood. calling in reference to your Dreams for the 16th Street Mall episode. Just needed to comment. I do think it would be cool if Tacos Rapidos was on 16th Street Mall or a restaurant like that. But I have to admit, it made me blood red mad when Bree referred to Tacos Rapidos as Tacos Wraps, which nobody calls it. All right, it's Rapidos enough. We don't need to abbreviate the name. I blame Paul because we all know how he loves abbreviating things. But if anything, we all call it the Taco Head. All right, everybody knows we're not going to call it Tacos Rapidos. We refer to it as the Taco Head. Also, Paul referred to Wine Coop Brewing as a hidden gem. Yeah, that's what he said in the podcast. And if he thinks Wine Coop Brewing is a hidden gem for Denver, it's like, hey, tell me you're a transplant without telling me you're a transplant. Come on, Paul. Yeah, and if he loves Wine Coop Brewing as a hidden gem, he's going to love Breckenridge Brewery, this little startup. He's going to love it. It's going to blow his mind. So, anywho, I was rambling a little bit there at the end. I don't mind if you cut that up. Love you guys. Love the show. You've been doing great. Just picking a little nits there. You know, want to keep you honest. All right. Love everything you do. All right. Love you. Bye.
Thanks for calling, JD.
Oh, JD.
My good friend, JD Lopez.
Yeah. Do you want to respond first? Or
the Wine Coop Brewing thing?
We both got called out here, yeah.
I mean, that was the joke. It's not a hidden gem.
I know. I think of it as Paul's discoveries. And you're usually like, maybe.
I found something. I built my own relation. I think there's something. What I was kind of making the joke about was the fact that Wine Coop Brewing in the 80s, it was that special hot new thing that kind of started this of the revitalization of Lower Downtown. It was a big deal, and now it has settled back into the noise of Denver, where it is just one of the things that people all seem to know about and no one really talks about as a special thing. But for me, it's this hidden gem.
To me, it's like, you want an old Denver place? It's a nice old Denver place. It's got like a big wooden bar. It's just got that vibe of the 90s in Lodo.
Crap ton of pool tables upstairs.
I enjoy it as well.
It's good. I did try Patty's chili beer.
You did.
It's not my favorite.
Patty Calhoun, editor Westward, has her own beer.
Yep. I like a chili beer that has a little bit more heat to it. This one was very mild. It was like a light vegetal aftertaste.
I bet they try to go for the meat, the low to mid spice level for
that's the
widest array of palates. Yes.
Yeah, they're getting people right off the train at Union Station. That's their whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I need to address
the tacos wraps thing.
Yes.
You've said this many times. I had never thought to ask you why.
Well, JD, I did not come up with that. I want you to know that my friends, they're in a group called FedRes, short for Federal Reserve, in case folks are wondering. They're a hip hop group that came out of Southwest Denver, the home of Tacos Rapidos, and they have a line in their song about Denver, which is called Danver. And it goes, Tacos Wraps is hardcore packed. It's all good because our hood has got your back. That's not the whitest thing I've ever said. But I pulled that directly from a song written by my friends who grew up in the neighborhood around Tacos Rapidos, who refer to it specifically as Tacos Wraps. So that was actually a reference to a song about Denver from some hardcore Denverites.
Yeah. Well, there you go, JD. I guess some people do call it that.
Yeah. I didn't make that up myself. I have to give credit where credit is due. Well, Paul, should we Tacos Wraps this up or what?
Yep. Thanks again to the CityCast Denver neighbors that joined over the weekend. Big thanks to Erica C, Aaron K, Ariel K, Diego V, Lena C, Ann S, Gerald M, and Mara K. If you haven't already, join, become a neighbor. Be a member of CityCast Denver. Help us make this thing, keep it strong for years to come. Membership.citycast.fm.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed this show, why don't you take a minute to tell Tim Gill about us? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See ya.
Hi, y'all. I'm Molly McKinley. I work in transportation and climate advocacy, and I've lived in the Denver area since 2018. When I first moved here, I really wanted to connect to Denver's history and culture. I cared about the city, but I didn't always know how to access its deeper story. That's where CityCast Denver comes in. They help fill in the gaps. It gave me context, helped me feel more at home, and made me even more invested in what's happening locally. Plus, it's made by local people who genuinely care about the city and want to help the rest of us connect with it in real, meaningful ways. I became a member last year because I realized how much I'd miss CityCast Denver if it disappeared. Supporting something you love, especially when it helps you feel connected to your city, just makes sense. And now, as a member, I get even more out of it, like ad-free listening, a weekly email rounding up the best local events across the city, and members-only swag. If you're not a member yet, now's a great time to invest in local journalism. Join me and become a CityCast Denver neighbor by visiting membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm.